Hello and welcome to a gameplay for all seasons. Today we're talking about Hogwarts Legacy, and in particular I want to talk about how this game is going to end, because by nature this sort of game, the way the game, what we're hearing about the game at the moment, suggests it might have a more unusual problem to try and end the game. So I want to talk about this now. I recommend you hit the subscribe button if you're interested in all things Hogwarts Legacy, so we cover a great variety here, and let's get straight into this. So the reason that I say this game is going to have a slightly weird ending to it is because of nature. In most games, you think about Red Dead Redemption or 10,000 other games I can mention, it's just a game that you can end at any time. You can end when the character dies, you could just go on forever, like it seems to happen in Grand Theft Auto, for example. You do your missions and then you just live in the town for as long as you want, and I know lots of people like to do that, and various other games like that. However, Hogwarts Legacy is quite different in that regard, and the reason it's different is because we know you are starting in year 5, and the issue is you have to follow the fact that you are going to school. It'd be hugely unlikely to me if this game lets you go all the way through Hogwarts and then you go off and get a job or go and have a family. It's not The Sims, right? I don't think that's going to happen. What I think this game is absolutely going to be set at Hogwarts. The real question is, are you going to be able to do 1 year because you're in your 5th year? I've mentioned this before in a few videos, but this is a bit more detailed this time. Or are you going to be able to do all 3 years and finish at the end? And then what's going to happen when you get to the very end? Is it just, well done, game's finished? Is it somehow going to leave you as some sort of perpetual student, continuously going there every single day in some weird, crazy way? So to me, these are your options. The first option is you are simply going to have your first year, you get to the end of the year, and that's when it coincides with the story and the game ends. And I think the only way you can really get that to work is not to have a very strict day cycle. Because if you have a very strict day cycle that's, for example, half an hour or something like that, or an hour, or whatever it is, I think the issue with that is you can end up having a year that's like 2,000 days long. And I know it's a magical place, but the years and the days are always the same, unless, obviously, with that Eloise Mintumble time turner catastrophe, but we won't go into that here. The days got somewhat different, but generally the days are the days. So if someone just wanted to sit there and play it for 200 hours, because I like playing games for quite a long time, really getting into them, you could end up with an awfully long year. So I think the way you avoid that is not to have a strict cycle. I think more you'd have to have events that happen during days, and when you get past those events, then it goes to the next day, or it gets later in the day, or something like that. I think if you do that, then it means that you can do that. You can get to the end of the year, you complete the storyline, and you're effectively done. The issue with that, if you've still got collectibles and things like that to do, you're not really going to be able to do them. The second option you have to that is you essentially do have that exact thing. However, at the end of the game, rather than saying it's the end of the game and maybe before the last mission says you can't come back to do anything, it does actually allow you to do that. And then you do get this more perpetual situation where you are just there getting your collectibles. I'm not sure that's going to bother people too much. I think the fact that the game just ends because they're arbitrarily trying to stick to a timeline will probably disappoint people more. And then there is, of course, one other way they could do it, which is probably, to me, probably not very likely, which is they put you in the 5th year, then you can do the 6th year, and then you can do the 7th year, which obviously will add a lot more to the time. And if you're going to do that, and you're expecting people to do that in 40 hours, for example, you probably are going to have to drop the whole idea of terms, times, and trying to strictly have a day-night cycle. You're just going to have to go through, when they hit certain points in the mission, they just go through to the next term, because you're going to be having 9 terms to get through, which is actually quite a lot, unless the game is going to be really, really long, which I doubt it is going to be that long. Let me know your thoughts on this, and I'll see you on the next video.